You were built to walk 12 miles a day. Today, you'll probably walk less than 4,000 steps. That's about 2 miles. And for most of human history, that would have been incomprehensible. For 99% of our existence on this planet, roughly 300,000 years, every human alive walked between 8 and 17 miles every single day. Not for exercise, not because they had a fitness goal, just to survive. Hunter-gatherers didn't have a choice. Food didn't come to them. They went to it. Every morning, they got up and moved through savannas, across rivers, up hills. Their bodies were shaped around constant movement, the way a fish is shaped around water. And something happened to their brains during all that walking that scientists are only beginning to understand. In 2014, researchers at Stanford published a landmark study in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. They took two groups of people. One group walked in nature for 90 minutes. The other walked along a busy city street. Before the walk, both groups showed similar levels of activity in a region of the brain called the subgenual prefrontal cortex, the area associated with rumination, that relentless mental loop of negative, repetitive thoughts that most of us know all too well. After the walk, the nature walkers showed dramatically reduced activity in that region. Their brains had literally quieted a noise that most modern humans carry constantly. But the deeper discovery came from a different kind of research. In 2011, scientists at the University of British Columbia found something no one expected. Aerobic exercise, specifically the kind you get from sustained walking, caused the hippocampus to physically grow. The hippocampus is the brain's memory center, its navigation hub, the seat of spatial awareness. In adults over 50 who walked 3 times a week, it grew by 2%. That may not sound like much, but for context, without intervention, the hippocampus shrinks by about 1 to 2% every year as we age. Walking didn't slow the shrinkage, it reversed it. The mechanism is a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Scientists sometimes call it miracle grow for the brain. Your brain produces it in response to sustained cardiovascular activity. It strengthens existing neural connections, builds new ones, and protects neurons from dying. Your ancestors were bathing their brains in BDNF every single day for 300,000 years. In 2014, a different Stanford team published another study on creativity. They gave participants what's called the alternate uses task. You're handed an object, say a paperclip, and asked to name as many uses for it as possible. The more unusual and inventive, the higher your creative score. People who walked scored 81% higher on creative output than people who sat. Not 10%, not 20%, 81%. And the effect persisted after they stopped walking. The boost was still measurable when they sat back down. Steve Jobs held walking meetings. Aristotle walked while he taught. His school was literally called the Peripatetics, from the Greek for those who walk around. Beethoven, Nietzsche, Darwin, all compulsive daily walkers. Darwin built a thinking path on his estate and walked it every single day. So here's the question. What happened? About 10,000 years ago, humans began farming. For the first time in 300,000 years, food came to people rather than the other way around. Settlements formed, fields replaced wandering, daily movement dropped, not dramatically at first, slowly, consistently, for millennia. Then came cities, then factories where standing replaced walking, then offices where sitting replaced standing, then cars where sitting replaced walking between offices, then phones. And now some of the most financially successful people on Earth spend most of their waking hours almost completely still. The average American today walks about 3,000 to 4,000 steps a day. Our hunter-gatherer ancestors walked 5 to 9 times that every single day. In 2018, a study in JAMA Psychiatry followed 34,000 adults for 11 years. People who did no leisure physical activity had a 44% higher risk of developing depression. A separate study found that just 35 minutes of walking 3 times a week was as effective as antidepressant medication for mild to moderate depression. A Finnish study published in 2018 followed 153 children and found that those who moved more had significantly better reading skills, stronger attention, and higher math scores. Not because exercise makes you smarter, because the developing human brain requires movement to wire itself correctly. And here's the part nobody talks about. We've built an entire culture around stillness. We reward it. We pay for it. We call it rest, comfort, success. The corner office has a chair. The luxury car means you don't have to walk. We treat the resulting brain fog, anxiety, and difficulty concentrating as medical conditions. And sometimes that's exactly right. But sometimes the question is simpler. When did you last walk 8 miles? The Hadza people of Tanzania, one of the last remaining true hunter-gatherer groups on Earth, have no word for exercise. They don't exercise, they just move, constantly, from morning to night. Researchers who studied them find virtually no depression, almost no cardiovascular disease, and hippocampal volumes that most modern 30-year-olds would envy. You weren't built for the chair you're sitting in. Your brain was built for the path, the hillside, the stream, the open plain. For 300,000 years, every human who survived was someone who could get up and go every single day, without exception. We traded that for convenience, and then we built an entire industry of supplements, medications, and therapies to try to get back what walking used to give us for free. So, next time you can't focus or you feel the low hum of anxiety that never quite goes away, or you wake up tired from 8 hours of sleep, maybe it's not a malfunction. Maybe it's your body running a 300,000-year-old program that hasn't received the update yet.